with partners in the private and public sector to ensure that no one in the area dies of hunger. He, however, called on the residents to desist from destroying the forest ecosystem, which he said was partly to blame for frequent drought that was affecting food production.
Over 160,000 families in Kilifi County is said to benefit from relief food consisting rice, beans and canned meat, flagged off by Area Governor Gideon Mungaro.
Na nafikiri leo tu ni mwanzo. Monday I will be again there. We got some donors last night who have come up with food. Bado tunajaribu kukusanya hapo cereals board, so on Monday another trip will go again ya vyakula kutoka county na wafadhili, so it will be a continuous exercise.
Na pia kuzidi kuitisha wahisani na wafadhili wengine waende kule Ganze waweze kusaidia ile hali.
Serikali ya kitaifa na county inasambaza maji katika mashule 66 na vituo vya afya ambavyo wananchi wanaweza pata nafasi ya kwenda kuchukua maji ili tusiwe tunapoteza mtu hata mmoja kwa sababu ya hii njaa.
Mungaro, however, put on notice those engaged in charcoal burning and those encroaching on the forest area, which he said is partly to blame for the failed rains.
And if we continue ravaging our environment, cutting all the trees for the 300 shilling of a sack of charcoal, we will not have rain for another 20 years probably. So let's also be ambassadors of telling people to stop this charcoal burning.
He says the county government called on more institutions from the private and public sectors to join hands to help those facing hunger. They pledged to undertake the relief food distribution on a weekly basis. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
In other news, a group of young men living in the proximity of Masai Mau Forest have initiated a tree nursery program aimed at reforesting the water tower. The group of 10 say they initiated the idea to put up a tree nursery after realizing the massive destruction of the forest and its adverse effects on the environment.
A few kilometers to the Masai Mau Forest in Ilmotiok Ward, Narok County, a group of young men are busy tendering their tree nursery that has a variety of tree species. The group, that is led by Josephat Koech, say they have seen the year 2019 planted over 700,000 seedlings of indigenous trees, 500,000 seedlings of exotic trees, and over 10,000 seedlings of fruit trees.
In mambo ya ukame zimeanza kusidi, tukaamua wacha tufanye hii mambo ya nursery, tuongeze mbegu za miti mbalimbali ili hapo mbeleni mambo ya mvua ikuje kuwa vizuri.
Narok Chief Officer for Environment Obadia Rono, who visited the tree nursery bed, pledged to link the group with officers from the Kenya Forest Service to offer the group technical support in their venture.
Na mimi nimecommit kwamba tutatuma officers wetu wa forestry wakuje wamsaidie, wampatie further guide ambaye itamwezesha afikie ile kiwango ya kulima mzuri kwa mambo ya tree nursery.
He further pledged to mobilize more young people in the area to join the initiative, as well as plant more trees on their land in efforts to increase forest cover.
Wale watu ambao nimetrain wafanye mambo na nursery ni 10. Wana train wafanye crafting ya avocados ama wachua hata jinsi ya kupanga na slips kwa nursery, kwa range nursery.
Smallholder tea farmers in Gatundu South, Kiambu County have thrown their weight behind the current leadership of the Kenya Tea Development Agency, telling of former directors who were voted out, urging them to wait until another electioneering period to express interest to serve. Led by John Macharia, the farmers read mischief in the actions of the former KTDA directors, who they accuse of seeking to disrupt implementation of tea reforms introduced by the government last year.
Sisi tunajua director wa Gashika electoral area ni Paul Dongo. Until siku ile tutamuondoa. Baada ya miaka 3 tukiona amefanya kazi mzuri tutamrudi. Hiyo ndio simefanya wakulima wengi wakasirike, kwa sababu kila saa kotini, na hiyo pesa wanatumia kotini ni ya wakulima.
Maombi yangu, na ninadhani ni mkulima yoyote ambaye ule analima majani chai, tunaomba wale wako kwa uongozi sahi, madirekta ambaye tuko nao sahi, wapatiwe nafasi, wafanye kazi, wamalize tamu yao, alafu ndio turudi kwa uwanja tuchaguane.
Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua wakiwa na idara kamili ya agriculture waigirie kati, ndio hii vita iishe, na ndio wenye tulichagua sisi wakulima waendelee na kazi yao, na diposa ndio soko ya majani iende mzuri, na ndio mkulima awe na kitu kwa mfuko.
Still in Kiambu County, businessman George Mwangi, the husband to Kiambu-based politician Gladys Chania, was hit by a blunt object before he died, an autopsy has revealed. A postmortem conducted at the Kenyatta University Funeral Home also revealed that Mwangi struggled to defend himself from the killers, as some of his injuries indicated self-defense. Chief Government Pathologist Johansson Odor says Mwangi, whose body was found dumped in Kenny Forest, was hit in the back several times. Now Mwangi's family has sustained calls for justice, insisting that the killers must be brought to book.
Daktari amefanya utafiti wake na amesema Mwangi aligongwa kutoka nyuma na chuma ama na kitu brand, na amegongwa mara kadhaa.
Ni daktari ametuambia amegongwa kichwa na hii kidole yake. Mimi nimetoseka kulikana na daktari vile amesema, na kuona DCI hii mambo amepeleka msuri sana, wanafuatilia sana.
And still in the county, a middle-aged man has died in Kahuho village, Kiambu County, after consuming an unknown substance in one of the local bars. The incident has reignited calls by locals on the need to double down on the sale of illicit liquor in the area. And local leaders have, however, blamed security agencies operating in the area for not doing enough to stem the vice.
That outlet is located in the right place, and it has to be away from learning institutions. It has to be away from other facilities, amenities of social use that can be a nuisance to the public.
Lakini ile inatengenezwa factory fulani inaruhusiwa ikuje iuzwe hapa iwe watoto wetu. We must be true to ourselves.
90% ya wanaume wenye hapa hawana mabibi, kazi yao ni kuamka asubuhi kukuja kwa pombe.
Shida hapa ni pombe, shida ni pombe, shida ni bangi, shida ni dawa ya kulevya.
Security agencies in Uasin Gishu County have raised concern over the emergence of a syndicate that is leasing residential houses, converting them into illegal distillers for counterfeit alcoholic drinks. Led by Uasin Gishu County Commissioner Dr. Edison Nyale, the County Security Committee team say unscrupulous individuals were using formalin and ethanol to make the contraband drinks, then packaged for distribution to unsuspecting consumers. Addressing the media, Dr. Nyale said the security team had so far arrested 3 suspects believed to be involved in the manufacture of contraband alcoholic drinks and confiscated some of the products in the uninhabited 4-bedroomed house in Chebarus area.
Amehamia maeneo ya Napkoi na tunafuata yeye mahali popote atakapoenda. I'm just but warning these people, let them change the business if they so wish to do business. Clean, credible business. Such a kind of business, they just pick 2-bedroom house in a rental setup, in a real estate, and they just confine themselves. You just see vehicles moving up and down here. So even the member of the public, I'm calling upon them to be watchful.
Well, that report brings us to a fast break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far. We'll be right back with more news.
To get Change Your Thinking Schizotune, dial star 811 star 961 hash.
When you change the quality of your thinking, you change the quality of your life. Sometimes instantly, just as positive words can make someone calm, smile or laugh, your thoughts will react to the world in real time. So, change the quality of your thinking.
Dial star 811 star 961 hash. Star
aspect they mentioned here, which is very important, the parents, the families of children or individuals with disability being involved.
It is our hope that your government will lead in inclusion of persons with disability, as cited in UDA's Disability Charter developed during the campaign period.
Differently abled, differently.
I want to. Also, truth is that I wouldn't like to be in his shoes. You should have seen his face. He was just utterly shocked and he felt awfully hurt.
Welcome back. Now let's proceed. Every 10 minutes, 7 Kenyans are in need of blood or blood products and are at risk of dying if blood is not availed. This has prompted the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority to roll out a countrywide blood drive campaign aimed at closing the deficit that currently stands at 384,000 units.
Blood donation appeals are common in Kenya, partly due to inadequate storage facilities. Addressing the media in Nairobi City Centre, where Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority held a week-long blood donation campaign, the authority's Nairobi Regional Manager Festus Koech said there has been an improvement after an increase of 15 new blood banks to the current 45, up from 30 in the previous year.
Our banks are not all that good, but we are not badly off, because for the last 2 years we've been achieving our targets up to 80% of the total blood need in the country. The blood collection need in the country right now stands at 500,000, and last financial year we managed to collect around 384,000 units of blood.
This has prompted the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority to roll out a countrywide blood donation campaign dubbed I Am a Shujaa, I Saved a Life, calling on Kenyans to donate blood in order to save the lives of those in dire need.
I would like to appeal to each and everybody to move to the closest center and make the difference by donating blood.
He said the county government of Mandera will soon open a new satellite blood center that will help address blood services in northern Kenya.
We have satellite centers in each and every county hospital. So we have like more than 47 satellite centers in Kenya.
In other news, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority Director General Emily Gunze says the sector is emerging from the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. He says the industry will soon be back on its feet and hopefully surpass the pre-COVID-19 performance.
Speaking during the 33rd International Federation of the Air Traffic Controllers Association Africa and Middle East regional meeting in Mombasa, Guza said passengers' safety is the core of the business.
there's a change in different technologies, how to utilize that finite element with the number of planes growing, air transport growing. So how now can you utilize that airspace in a safe and effective way while still adding more users to that particular airspace?
Meanwhile, Feta Bekti, Executive Vice President of International Federation of Air Traffic Controllers Association, said airports should be leverage new technologies to drive revenues and enhance safety.
Invest more on infrastructure. Infrastructure includes air navigation equipments and radar systems and communication systems that are efficient, and as technology comes, you buy newer and better equipment. Another way is by retraining and training the air traffic controllers and other aviators within the Civil Aviation Authority so that they are current and they know the current technologies and therefore they're able to cope with the changing systems.
The aviation industry was among those affected by COVID-19 pandemic, leading to loss of jobs globally.
The government says it is deliberate in positioning the country as a hub for the film industry. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the NGO International Film Festival, the Kenya Film Commission CEO Timothy Owase has lauded filmmakers for their endless efforts in using film as a tool for social change and job creation in the country.
The 3-day annual NGO International Film Festival was on Friday night brought to a close, where winning films selected by juries were awarded.
The first award of the evening goes to a Kenyan, Kenneth Apopa.
This year, 2,071 films from 143 countries around the world were submitted under the theme COVID, Conflict and Climate Change. The films Sungura and Mathare River from Kenya were among the 10 films that were awarded from the 100 shortlisted films. First Lady Rachel Ruto urged Kenyans to work together to deal with the adverse effects of climate change.
When we see people like Wangari Maathai, who really did a lot while she was here, I think these are people that we need to emulate. Now that God has given me the opportunity to be the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, not just with the issues of women economic empowerment, but also putting in climate change, because we have to do something even concerning our planet.
Stakeholders further noted that film is a great tool for social change and called on filmmakers to evoke change through film production.
Film is a great tool for social change. For us, we are preparing the country to have Kenyans who are able to storytell for a meaningful purpose.
Gone are those days when people say, you know, I read this book, it inspired me, you need to read it. Right now, children are saying, watch this film, it has inspired me. And that's the power that we have.
Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
How long shall they kill our prophet while we stand aside?
The County Assembly of Isiolo will begin live streaming all its proceedings on social media. Speaker Mohamed Roba says the move is aimed at opening up the assembly to the public.
Speaking at the Isiolo Police Grounds, the County Assembly Speaker Mohamed Roba said that under his leadership, members of the County Assembly will be required to exercise high levels of discipline and come up with legislative policies.
Kama legislative arm, ile arm ya serikali ya kutengeneza sheria, sisi tuna tunaambia governor na watu wa Isiolo wote kuwa tutafanyia watu kazi, tutaleta legislation zile zitasaidia hii county kwenda mbele. Wakati tulikuwa campaign, kuna vitu mingi ambao watu walitueleza inafaa kufanyika. Kama county assembly, we are going to legislate and we are going to follow up with the executive arm, so that hiyo pesa yote isiingie mfuko ya watu, ifanye kazi, ifanyie raia kazi. Ndio after 5 years tukirudi kwa raia kuuliza ni nini imefanyika, then we are able to account for every penny that we have collected from the wananchi.
Robert said among the measures set to be undertaken by the County Assembly as a matter of priority is deliberate efforts to fix pilferage of resources. He said the Assembly will move to ensure it remains accountable and open to public scrutiny.
We will amend our standing orders so that the County Executive Committee members are going to be directly answerable to the County Assembly. Malile tunaona haifanyiki kazi, malile tunaona kazi ya raia yende mzuri, tunawaita. Kama mtu anazembea kazi, tuna recommend kwa governor, mtu anarudi nyumbani, mwingine anaingia, kazi ya raia inafanyika.
Now, hoteliers in Nakuru County have fully recovered from COVID-19 pandemic, which led to the closure of many businesses and the loss of thousands of jobs. Now, some hoteliers say they are making double the revenue they used to earn before the pandemic.
Nakuru County Tourism Association Chairman David Mwangi says Naivasha has potential mainly in conferences due to the high number of hotels and its proximity to Nairobi.
Naivasha developed around the lake, around that water body, and right now we are talking of one of the major destinations in matters MICE or conferencing, which is the meetings, incentives, conferencing and events.
Mwangi noted that since the elevation of Nakuru into a city last year, the number of visitors to the county has risen.
And when you combine Naivasha now with Gilgil, which is part of Elementaita, and also Nakuru City, that belt of 3 sub-counties only, Naivasha, Gilgil and Nakuru Town, East and West, we are talking of a percentage of 83% of all the facilities that are there in the entire county.
Naivasha Charter Chairman Jimmy Mwangi said services were back to normal after the pandemic that saw hundreds lose their jobs.
I think for the hospitality sector in Naivasha and elsewhere in the country, things are a lot better than they were. We are not back to where we used to be 3 or 4 years ago before COVID, but we are definitely in a good place. We are all thankful as Kenyans that we had peaceful elections, and now people are able to go back to work and at least get on with the business of building the country.
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for My Culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for History in Perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
Breast cancer is not one disease, and I think it's very important for that to be understood so that even if you have 10 people with breast cancer, they would not have the same management. So general risk factors would include early menarche, if you start getting your menses early on, like when you're very young, and having late menopause. Why is this? It's because you have a longer period of exposure to estrogen. If you have your firstborn child later in, like above 30 as compared to someone who had a child maybe in their 20s, then your risk factor is higher because you had later first delivery.
So many people doesn't know about cancer. So what I'm saying, the awareness should be done about cancer so that people should know this and this can happen.
It's so expensive to manage cancer, and it's even more expensive to manage stage 4 cancer.
33 in every 100,000 women suffer cervical cancer. This is a huge number. And we lose at least 9 women daily.
In the community, in the slums where I used to live, we thought that cancer was made for the richer people but not for the poor people.
Above 90% of the cervical cancer cases are as a result of HPV infection.
I had this discharge and I wasn't able to afford sanitary towels. So I used my T-shirt to cater for, to take care of the discharge. I felt broken. I wanted to commit suicide.
In some studies published in The Lancet, the HPV vaccine can prevent cervical cancer by up to 90%.
Welcome back, and now we cross over to County Hall, where the vetting of the Cabinet Secretary nominees continues, with 2 more nominees scheduled to appear before the Committee on Appointments that is being chaired by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. Appearing before the committee is Florence Bore, who is the Cabinet Secretary nominee for Labour and Social Protection. Let's cross over to County Hall.